And we're recording. So if you want to start off with measuring 6, if you're measuring, so I'm going to do that a little differently here. It's a small thing, maybe you don't need it, but usually somebody does need a reminder that if you want to keep, make a straight line parallel to the edge, measure off the edge. Here I have 0 on the edge of the paper, and then I mark it 1, add 6 to 7, then go up here, start at the edge of the scale is at 0 on the edge of the paper, then 1, and then 7. Then I have 2 marks that are parallel, that are going to be the same distance from the edge of the sheet of paper. And then I can make sure that this thing stays square. Then I can do the same here, 1. And I want this to be 3, so I'm going to go from 1 to 4, start at 0, go to 1, then to 4, and that like that. The reason I mention that is that sometimes I see students make only 1 mark and then just approximate parallel, and especially if if the scale covers the edge of the sheet of paper you can't see, and it's simple enough to make 2 marks, and then you've got a nice straight line parallel to the edge. Okay, and so that's 3, 6, and then if I wanted to, I could just extend this up. I mean, right now, because these are sketches, I really can just approximate it. They don't have to be measured too sharply. Some if you want to do it this way, you make them nice and sharp and measured, go right ahead. But as long as you approximate something that is close enough, you'll be in good shape. All right, here comes my assistant, who's going to be looking for a place to lie down. Come here. Come here. Yeah, you can't sit right there, though. People have to see. Hey, up here. Oh, right there. You're blocking the light, man. Hey. He wants to get closer to me. All right, right there. Right there. Good boy. Okay. All right, little pup. All right, so last week when I did this demo, I had this drawing where I started by drawing a linear path, and then I added circles. It's important when you think about the kind of shape you're using ahead of time, or even just try something. Circles can be used in combination to create something that looks kind of organic. They could look like bubbles or berries or pods or something. So you're not far off. As I said in class on Thursday, geometric and organic are not exclusive of each other. So organic things can look geometric and the other way around. All right, so let's try something maybe a different thing, kind of like this. And I'll just do this, but kind of like a rectangular shape that is, you know what, you're messing up the focus a little bit. Okay, so like my rectangular shape, if I start with like Joey. Hey, I'm sorry. This is this is work for me here. So if I do this quickly and loosely, I get something that's got a little bit more energy rather than something that's very carefully square on the corners. So this is a little more fun to draw. You can do it faster. You also can just not worry about making perfect rectangles because you're not. And with this drawing, like using this shape like this, the point is really not to make really perfect rectangles. I'm trying to create the impression of this kind of like a wave with these approximations, almost like they're like papers kind of flying through the air or something, little strips of paper, I don't know what. But this has a rhythm and a wave to it where there's a repetition of that composition, just like this little bit, like up and down. And that's pretty good. I'm going to just take the Sharpie and, sketches are really the nature of a sketch is that it is quick and approximate, but it's accurate enough that it can be understood. People still sketch freehand on paper in design application in professional settings, and it's a very valuable thing to be able to do. And I think what I've discovered in teaching is that a lot of students don't know how close they are to being able to make a simple sketch like this that's effective. Because the idea here is not that I'm making a great artistic drawing. I'm making a drawing that's meant to express an effect. And that's all this is. So this is not, I'm not calling the Art Institute of Chicago and, trying to sell this to them. Of course, they would jump at the chance. They would be lucky to have this drawing. Can kind of use the marker and just fill it in a little bit bigger. They look a little small. I can see actually starting to make these a little bit larger. I like the change in scale, so I think I'm going to emphasize that. And so, like this is an example of you kind of like your drawing develops as you draw. It's really, I would say, it's rare that you can, that you think of a drawing and it just comes out the way you want it to, like you can, as if you can just illustrate the thing in your mind. It really doesn't work that way. I find that I have to be working in order to get my best ideas. I can get an idea to start, but that's just an idea that gets me started. There he goes. Now Elliot's getting bored that I'm not doing enough interaction. Okay, so that's pretty good, and this is good. This is what this has. So this shows rhythm. And wave. So I'm just going to say this has a wave to it. And direction, definitely there's a direction that goes out this way. Your eye follows the repetition and the rhythm, and it's really hard for the viewer to resist that. You just like get this automatically. As soon as you see this, your eye follows the progression. I don't see how you could really stop it. And that's something that's good for somebody doing visual work. because then you can present something that creates an impression or an experience for the viewer. Okay, medium eraser. Elliot Mayer, well, that's Joey. Lose track sometimes. We have 3 kitty cats. Joey, baby, I can't do it right now. Poor boy. He gets so stressed around the other cats, I just have to keep him in the bedroom separate most of the time. He thinks he has to fight them. Okay, that's good. So that's one. This is one idea. I had an idea for like where I wanted it to go in the compositional rectangle, and then I came up with a shape. You know, you're making 8 of these drawings. You could make dozens of these and never run out of ideas. You could make thousands of these and still have new new drawings to make. So 8 is a pretty small number, relatively. It's not necessarily a small number to you if you've never done this kind of work before. But some of these demonstrations, I want to show you how quickly you can arrive at a good solution. All right. So this one, I'm going to move this up a little higher. And this one too, I think it's kind of nice when you can like make it like look like those. So this is the open composition where it seems to come in from outside. It actually dips down a little bit here. This probably could make it seem like it dips. So it sort of breaks out of the rectangle. I'm going to make one go this way. We read in English, you read left to right, so it's very compelling to make compositions that read left to right. Try some that are right to left. There are languages that read right to left, not left to right, so English is not the only language. All right, so here, I could start. Now this could look like if you have a bias of like left to right, you could see this as getting bigger as it comes towards you. But you can also see it getting smaller going out this way. Here, let's try this. So like an element, I mentioned perspective in class on Thursday. I can use this element of perspective that objects seem to get smaller as they recede. So the width of this band and the space between them will gradually get larger as I come closer to this side. And I think I could even emphasize this a little bit more. Don't be shy about erasing and making the correction you need to make. It's I had to learn as a student that like if you have something that needs correction, it's not going to get better if you avoid making the correction. It's just going to stay the same. So it's worth it to just take the plunge, erase, and fix it. You might be a little bit of struggle to get it exactly right, but you can do it. Now here, I've got this works, this sort of like wave path. you know, it looks like it could be like a, from, you know, above, if we do it this way, you could see it as a path receding in space. I think what I want to do is, like, I've got a lot of area left over here, and, you know, there's actually some area left over here too. Watch out for leaving too much dead space out here. If you, even if you just do something like so, like here, I've got a line here. When you do this in cut paper for the final version, you can't have that line there. So I got to do something like, you know, either like this might be filled in here. Like this might be black all the way in here. Now, if I have black and black, I'm going to lose the edge right here. It might be, if I have enough of these, it might be, you know, like you might have like the edge implied, because this goes here, it's broken up, and then it restarts right there. Or I could even do this when I cut the piece of paper to just like leave a little gap. So that I don't lose this edge entirely. This is where the drawings come in, or become very useful, because you can see if it's going to work. So let's say I do this. I mean, you know, I'll leave that little sliver because it's really the best way to maintain the appearance of the edge all the way. But I also need to see what it looks like, because it might look kind of stupid. I don't want this to look too much like it's just like floating. I want what really is just a highlight. And I think even in the smaller drawing here, I want to draw this a little bit more carefully. Even. Okay, pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. I want to make this solid so that I don't. Now, if I don't fill these in to the same level of like opaque black, then it'll be hard to see. It'll be difficult for me to see what it will actually look like cut out of paper. So that's pretty good. A little sliver of light right in here. Erase the pencil so we can see that more clearly. Yeah, that'd work. That'd work. Just as I said, you have to be careful that you don't let this. This is just a little bit of a tiny gap, and it could even be like only like. You'd even have it like just about touch right up there, as long as you get just like a little. It's almost like it's getting light hitting the edge of some like sharp edge on a solid object. So then I can fill that in. Mhm. Now here, I'm a little concerned about the having this big solid black area up here. I might try I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be. I might just have like a little, like maybe like the fragment of another one just kind of poking in from up there. I might do that also down here. Now I've got that. I'd have to like cut a piece of paper and put on there. I'll show you that. Okay. So I guess here's what I mean with this. So I can start by making that a little bit. I might even just keep it simple. I don't want to distract from this primary element of that path running through the middle-ish. Make that a little bit skinnier. Yeah, that's good. I think I would go back and do it down here. I'll cut a piece of paper and show you how to make that reappear. Okay. Yeah, now I've got. Now that I did this really cleanly, I guess I'm being a little bit quicker about showing this. All right. Right back. I got to go get my scissors. Oh. Let's just see how that goes. I want to cut a smooth curving edge with a pair of scissors like this. If I keep this piece of paper big, slowly close the scissors. Keep your fingers out of the way. My fingers are out here. But as you turn it, you turn the piece of paper as you're closing the scissors. And then move your fingers to get them out of the way. There, I can put something back. With high contrast, there's a nice opportunity to change some of that. Or I can do that. Yeah, I think I need to. Yeah, so these these little cut pieces of paper, you can mess around with where they are. I think I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect necessarily. I just want to get something that'll let me bring some of the white back. And since you put the marker, the Sharpie down, you cut paper is a way to do that. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. This is kind of fun. Let's move that out of there. Turn this over. So now I want to do one that is, let's try something that's maybe a little bit more realistic but symbolic. Let's just make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Probably closer to the side. Finished size, that's 4.5 by. Yeah, that's actually. Finished ones will be a little bigger, but this is just drawing so that it will show up. Focus. There we go. All right, so like organic. I think I want to do something like a landscape. I'm going to make a vanishing point here for perspective. That. No, I don't have to do like that quite. All right. Let's to this method to work like it is. Gradually smaller. It will look a little thinner as it comes back this way. That's okay. Doesn't have to be completely perfect. This actually should cut in right. Clouds. So like a cloud shape. Kind of, clouds as, classic bird flying in the distance. Actually, you can do, students have done this. If these little, I think a lot of us have drawn these as kids, and even now, you have this kind of like bird flying away. Um, that's a really good example of something that's symbolic and that people understand what it's supposed to represent. If I want to do this for this assignment, I'm going to make it out of cut paper. I've got to give it some dimension. It's got to be an enclosed shape. Otherwise, it's hard, it's going to be tough to do it. So that might be a little bit too big. And this could be my land of abstract wing-like birds. Let's see. Yeah. So and the idea here is I'm trying to create depth with perspective. I'm also trying to create this progression. So I'm going to make them smaller. They don't have to necessarily be in a line, but I want them to be getting smaller in some direction. So I think that one there might need to come out. So this is the process of making, coming up with a composition is a process of trial and error. You really just can't imagine something in your head and then illustrate it just kind of automatically. The image in your head isn't made of the same thing that this drawing is made of. And so if you think about, like if you generate an image in your mind of a drawing you'd like to make, it's not made of anything in the physical world out here. And so when you go to make it as a drawing, you've got to really you have to figure out how to make it. The image in your head is the idea, but it's not made in a way that can be shown to other people. And that's what the drawing is for, is a way, it's in a format that you can share with others. Okay? That's pretty good. So here I have these elements of landscape that have, it's the edges that are that show the way this recedes. I'm going to try this. And fill this in. And see what this looks like if it's just solid shape. Because that's where it's going to tell me. You can do things in pencil without filling this in solid that will look pretty good, but then when you go to fill them in, you realize, I don't think I can do that. All right, so the scale of this is a little smaller than what I'm going to do for the finished version. So I think as long as I use the marker and just make these shapes, rather than just being a single, like a thin line, I'm going to kind of try to fill it in as a shape. Okay. And then I can make corrections with the marker if the proportions of these wings are a little bit off. Here I've got this wing coming in from one of these shadow birds is cropped. Yeah. So I think I got the same challenge here as with this that last one I did, where I'm going to have like a black edge and a black edge meeting, and I got to decide how do I keep this, because if I just fill this in black and fill this in black, I lose the point of the wing. So I'm going to have to leave a little white around it, and that means when you're cutting the paper, you'll just leave a little extra. Oh, hi. What are you doing? Oh, he smells the Sharpie. Yeah, it smells bad. Don't sniff that, man. That's not for cats. All right, might need another Sharpie here. Hey, it's pretty good. Yeah, very large one. Okay. That's okay. I mean, it's kind of working in terms of perspective and depth. Um, this is one that I definitely would want to make it larger at the like the 5 by 10, and spend some time working on the details. Now, I drew these mountains in the distance, and I want to try it and see. I'm not real confident that it's going to look right. You know, there's a type of perspective called atmospheric perspective, and that says that objects that are far in the distance, like mountains seen from a distance like this, will be lighter because there's stuff in the air between you and those mountains, such as humidity, or these days it's like out in the west, fire smoke. Could be pollution, and so it makes them look lighter and lower in contrast. So if this is all black and white, I can't do that. Um, I guess one way around that is I did give you the option to introduce a color. And in this case, you could introduce a gray piece of paper to make that look lighter. Elliot, man, he's behind me on the chair now, and he's just like trying to get comfortable. Yeah, sometimes pats at my back to tell me to move. What's more important? Whatever he's doing. A little baby. Okay, that's okay. This. I think this could work black and white, but I think like this could be gray, and then gray. Yeah. So it does get a little bit more complicated to do that, but if I'm confident that it's a little bit more effort, not a lot more effort. Um, so, and if you were to do this like with black and like you got black and white, and if you were to add gray, I would want you to add them in all three. Add the gray in all three compositions on the board. So your board is going to have three stacked up like that. You can turn the board so that it's horizontal and have the images at a vertical orientation if you want to. That would work too. You could also do it so that all three compositions coordinate and there's some edge that like kind of goes through all three. Ta-da! Yeah, so like here, I think I might do a little bit. You're doing this with pencil. You can just keep erasing if you need to. Try to make these as small as I can make them. Hey, trying to push me out of the way. After you spoil your kitty cats. push you around. It's all right. Crop this one just a little bit, just so that it doesn't look weird, like I'm avoiding the edge. Okay. Yeah, so I guess maybe this one where you could have some clouds or something. The clouds can get a little like smaller. We can even do that with light gray clouds. We can do this with two grays, like a medium gray and a light gray for the cloud. Oh boy, that's fun. Okay, this is a little bit blank here. We're making this kind of like artificial, kind of like early animation, where everything is a simpler. It's just like a really simple shape. I could do a little bit of that and just keep that from looking empty. All right, that's good. I think that's all right. So there are things that you can do where you work with something that's symbolic, but you make something, an image that looks realistic. Um, more like an illustration, or something like comics, graphic novels, that kind of stuff. All right. Does that help, Gardenia?
Yeah, that did help.
Very good. Very good. So, um, for let's see. I should ask: would you like me to see anything you're working on?
I don't think so right now because I'm still like what's it called? I'm still on the drawing that I was doing during class.
Okay.
Still thinking of other designs. I mean, yeah, other things to do
Okay.
because I'm not sure if I want to use the clouds one or another one.
Okay. Well, I would try them. So if you even if some of the ideas are not successful, that's okay because you got to try different ideas to find out. And so don't worry, don't hesitate, don't take too long to start something. Just start it and find out if it's going to work, or where, like, if you're having problems controlling it or just making it work. Um, that's part of the process. So I've made a lot of drawings that were unsuccessful or sometimes just plain bad drawings, and you just move on to a lot of those drawings, they're very useful in showing you what you should not do.
Yeah.
Good. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.